The global population continues to face many challenging situations daily. Climate change, financial losses, fear, anxiety, sickness, death. It may sometimes seem like this season of gloom will never end, and many are losing hope. The future may be daunting, but in the midst of your hopelessness, I can assure you that God, who is the creator of this world, still has the world in the palm of his hands, and for this reason, you can still have hope.
We want to welcome you again to the Wednesday night Bible classes for the Stonecrest Church of Christ. It is always a plum-picking pleasure that is presented to us each Wednesday evening as we are given the opportunity by you to be able to come into your homes, your businesses, your workplaces, your places of abode to share with you convictions about how Christ and his church that are predicated upon what God has already said in his divine inspired, inerrant, and infallible Word of God. We are encouraged each week to be able to come, to share, and to present messages that we hope educational, instructional, inspirational to your life here on this place we call planet Earth. We're also greatly encouraged by the fact that you share these broadcasts on your own personal Facebook page. That's one way of taking the gospel to the whole world. A number of you come up to me on Sundays and say to me that we have audiences in certain states because you are sharing and asking them to join you in a study of the Word. And for that, we're grateful. Be sure now to like the page. Somehow that creates some kind of algorithm where Facebook will even share this beyond our own sharing time with other people. So you can help us to distribute these studies just by liking the page, and we appreciate that so very, very much. Before we begin a study on tonight, I would call your attention again to a ladies' symposium that the ladies of Stonecrest Church is hosting on Saturday, September the 13th, at our location here in McDonough, Georgia. That thematic thrust is going to be the greatness of grace. They have invited two keynote speakers to encourage them, along with some other classes and activities that they'll be having on the Saturday, September the 13th. Tanya Porter from the Lord's Church there in Charlotte, North Carolina, has been invited to speak to our ladies, along with our own Dr. LaWanda Twait, a retired recent educator, outstanding presenter. She works with us on our Issachar conference. You have heard her before. She is inspirational and encouraging and insightful. And you don't want to miss being blessed by these two wonderful speakers. That's Saturday, September the 13th. And so please join us. You'll see a flyer that will be displayed for you with all of the necessary information. If you are a member of the Stonecrest Church, you know what your financial responsibility is. If you are not a member of the Stonecrest Church, no cost is being attached to this wonderful festive occasion. They just want you to come, enjoy yourselves, and be blessed by the hospitality of the Stonecrest ladies. And then secondly, we're sponsoring a scholarship golf tournament on Friday, September the 26th at Crystal Lake Golf and Country Club, right down the street here from McDonough in Hampton, Georgia, where we're raising funds to be able to give scholarships to not only our college students, but also to benefit Southwestern Christian College. The Stonecrest Church was gracious enough to set up a scholarship in my name and in the name of my wife. And so a part of those funds we take to give out scholarships to students matriculating at Southwestern Christian College in Terrell, Texas. The individual fee is $125. If you are playing on a team of four, it's going to be $500. Well, if you just don't play golf at all, we will accept donations because, again, the ultimate objective in raising these funds is to be able to encourage our students locally as well as students at our college in Texas. So whatever donation you choose to give from the bottom of our hearts, we'll be grateful not only to receive them, but also to recognize them both verbally and in print during the golf tournament itself. Ricky Miller is our fine tournament director. All questions and concerns should be directed toward him. And you'll see that flyer before the program is over. Now, let's get back to the, if not for you, for me, and we certainly hope for you, the exciting series that we're in, that we have entitled Plagues That Preach, where we're looking at the 10 plagues that God sent as judgment upon the Egyptian empire. With these 10 plagues, God is going to crush their economy. He's going to humiliate their religion, because as I have shown in the first 2 plagues and in the rest of the plagues, that each of these plagues is going to be a judgment on one of their gods. And we pointed out already the 2 previous ones. So these are judgments that God is sending to get Pharaoh to let his people go, and to show Pharaoh and his people that their trust in these gods and goddesses are misplaced and misdirected. You remember in the first plague, we entitled that message when God rules the river. The Nile River was their source of not only income but commerce. It affected the military. It affected the vegetation of the land. It affected their economy. And the first thing God did was struck all of that by turning the Nile River into blood. Be reminded now that the Nile River stretches through 11 countries and 4,100 miles. Can you imagine that? But listen, we saw it just a few years ago. A little old virus that was called the coronavirus started somewhere over there in China, and it's just a matter of months. It has circulated the entirety of the globe. And remember that almost 2 to 3 million people died from that one little tiny virus. Now, I want you to watch this. So in the first plague, God struck the Nile River. Everything inside the Nile, all of the fish, all of the vegetation died. But last week's lesson we call When False Gods Come Hopping Home. You'll remember that from the flooding of the Niles, frogs would overflow the banks. Well, God said no. While that is true, he caused a plague where frogs were everywhere. It was not only in the Nile, it was in their bedrooms, in their houses, in their living rooms, in their garages, in their chariots. Everywhere they went, there were frogs. And you'll remember, we said in each of these plagues, there was a God that controlled the Nile River. They believed in a God who was in the form and the image of a frog, so they could not kill the frogs. And then you'll remember me saying last week that Pharaoh called Moses in, and he says to him, listen, pray to your God, and ask him to remove these frogs. Well, why didn't Pharaoh pray to his own God in the form of a frog? Well, God is trying to show Pharaoh that, listen, man, your God can't even hop. He ain't got no bounce in his legs at all. God doesn't, watch this. God doesn't kill them dead, because you can't kill anything alive. And so God is showing that he and he alone is God, and he's God all by himself. And any God you put up in his face is going to hop away, because God is in absolute control of absolutely everything. Now, I want you to watch the third plague. And I'm excited to be able to present it to you. Uh, I've named this plague, I've entitled the third plague, When the Dust Starts Moving. When the dust starts, ooh, listen, if you're feeding the kids, helping feed them, uh, if you're helping them with homework, uh, hurry up and help them. So we can have your undivided attention. Even if you got to come back in a little while, you need to come back with full focus and full concentration on this third plague. And you'll see why I call it when the dust starts moving. Let me read the text for you at Exodus 8 and verse number 16. Then the Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your staff. And watch this. Ooh, I can hardly wait. And strike the dust of the earth. Because you missed it. Yeah, see, you missed it. God didn't tell him to strike the dirt. He said, strike the dust. Ooh, this thing gonna get good. Let me read it to you. He said, strike the dust of the earth so that it may become gnats or lice or flies in all the land of Egypt. Let me read it slow. God said, Moses, tell Aaron, hold up that staff. He said, strike the dust. And when you strike the dust, watch this. Then the particles of dust are going to become gnats and flies and lice in all the land of Egypt. Oh, you better hear me up in here tonight. Verse 17. And they did so. Aaron stretched out his hand with his staff and struck the dust of the earth. And watch this. And there were gnats on man and beast. All the dust of the earth became gnats in all the land of Egypt. I'm going to have to take you back to the form in just a second. The magicians tried by their secret arts to produce gnats, but they could not. Let me show you why that's not so important and significant. Because you'll remember they produced some bloody water. But by their secret arts, by their magic, they produce some bloody water. They also produce some frogs. But watch this. By way of their magic and secret art. But watch this. They could not produce any gnats. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. These gnats were on man and beast. Ooh, watch the confession. Oh, my goodness gracious. Watch the confession from the magicians to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh, Pharaoh, you better let Moses alone. You better let Aaron alone. And you better quit messing with God. You better quit messing with their gods. Now listen, this confession, this admission is coming from Pharaoh's own religious leaders. They said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. They said, man, listen, we done tried with our magic and with our secret arts. We try to show you, Pharaoh, that our God stands on the same level with theirs through magic and secret arts. But 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 that has done something. Watch this. With just one of his fingers. Oh, not fingers. Just one of his fingers. Watch this. You missed that. Look at me. Look at me. Ain't that what we do with nets? You don't have a fly swatter big enough to deal with all of these nets. Watch this. Don't miss this. Pharaoh's magicians confessed. Pharaoh's magicians, watch this, admitted and acknowledged that Moses' God had a power that their art and their science and their gods could not reproduce. And watch this. To Pharaoh's men, give them credit. They at least acknowledge that their hearts were now softening. These magicians said to Pharaoh, man, you better loosen up. You better straighten up. Their God ain't playing. And we're not even in the same league with their God. And watch this. Rather than Pharaoh softening his heart, the text read, but Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he would not listen to them, as the Lord had said. Not only was Pharaoh not listening to God, to Moses, he stopped listening to his own advisors. Ooh. And watch this. He saw and was affected because Pharaoh's doing this too. They own him too. Let me explain to you what's going on here. There is a historically black college and university, we call them HBCUs, by the name of Grambling University. From a long time ago, they distinguished themselves as being unusual entertainers, musicians. As a lad of a boy, I would watch Grambling University in the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl parades. I would watch them on TV. And then when I could afford to go to the Cowboy game, I'd watch them in Cowboy Stadium. They were had a lot of energy, high stepping, instrument playing, excellent musicians, excellent entertainers. To this day, whenever they take the field, the announcer in the press box comes on and says, Grambling University, watch this, often imitated, but never duplicated. They've been here to Atlanta in the Battle of the Bands. And when they take field, their mantra, they're introduced with these words. We recognize we're not the only historically Black college and university in the United States. We recognize that. We recognize that others can entertain. We recognize that others can march. We recognize that there are other musicians in these other Black colleges and universities and non-Black colleges and universities. But they also said this: they copy off of us. So say what you want. You can call them arrogant. You can call them anything you want to. I ain't hating on FAMU, and I ain't hating on Alabama A&M, and I ain't hating on Florida A&M University, and I ain't hating on one of these other 70 plus historically Black colleges and universities. I ain't hating on Morris Brown. I ain't hating on Clark University. I ain't hating on Morehouse. But Grambling says, they've been copying us because we're often imitated, but never duplicated. Can I let you in on a little something here? That's what God said to Pharaoh. Now, I have allowed your magicians and their magic art to copy what I've done in the first 2 plagues. Come here. Come here. Don't be hard-headed. Come here. God says, but the line stops right here. I'm going to draw the line right here. I'm going to limit. I've allowed you with your trickery, with your magic, with your secret arts. But God says, let's step up your game. Let's step it up a little bit now. And God says, okay, watch this. I've been jabbing. I've been jabbing. But now I'm about to knock you out. I've been weaving. I've been bobbing. I've been dancing like a butterfly, floating like a bee. Maybe the opposite. But right now, I'm about to knock you out. I'm tired of playing with y'all. You're going to let my people go. And I'm going to draw the line on this 3rd plague. Come on. All right, I want you to watch this. I want this. First of all, I want you to see the point of the plague. His point. Regardless of whatever else I say tonight. Pardon me, please, I'm getting too excited. Whatever else I say tonight, his point is right on the screen. God showed that his power is beyond imitation. That he can use the smallest things to humble the mighty, and that his finger alone is greater than all the forces of men and demons combined. It was a call for Pharaoh and us to recognize God's supremacy and yield our hearts to him. Now, let me give you the lessons of the plague up front, just in case I run out of time here. I want you to watch this. Here's the lesson. Sorry, and forgive me. Here's lesson number 1. God can use the smallest things to humble the mighty. Watch this. God turned ordinary dust into gnats, humbling power for Egypt. That's lesson number one. Lesson number two. God, and I just talked about this, God limit human power. Even the magicians of Egypt could not replicate this plague. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. Number three, the fingerprints of God are undeniable. Even the magicians confess. Even the magicians said to Pharaoh, we can't deny that. Now, we could deny the Nile. Somebody may have just paused in the water in one of those other 11 countries. And all these frogs everywhere. Now that could, we have a lot of frogs anyway. Whatever the Nile overflows, not this many before, but we've had a lot of frogs before. But they said, now, boss, on this one, you better let that man alone, because the fingerprints of God are undeniable. And then lesson number four, judgment falls where we least expect it. Who in the world would have expected that God would have gone to one of the smallest particles on the face of the planet and did the damage that he did to Pharaoh and to Egypt? So we got to ask ourselves two questions, and the lesson will be yours. Question number one, why did God use the dust? I mean, why didn't God just let an asteroid come out of the sky? Why didn't God just let a cloud come down and cover Egypt? Why didn't God let some stars fall and smash Egypt? Dust? Listen, dust. God said, I ain't gonna even use the dirt. I'm gonna use dust. Like that the same? No, it's not the same. Dust and dirt ain't the same. I better show you all this. Okay, let me give you 5 reasons why God used the dust. Number one, the dust symbolizes mortality. It symbolizes human frailty. I took off my glasses earlier. Now I'm putting them back on so I can see a little more clearly. Did you know 20 years ago I didn't need glasses? Why am I wearing glasses tonight? Because of human frailty. 30 years ago, all my hair was black. No gray anywhere. Well, why are you gray-headed tonight? Human frailty. You see, I'm dust. How does say dusty? I said, I'm dust. And guess what you are? You're dust. I don't run as fast as I used to run. In fact, I don't run at all. Perhaps I should, but and when I start running, I don't run far. Why? Human frailty. You're looking at a 73-year-old specimen. Psalm 90 only promises me 70 years. I'm 3 years of overtime living. I ain't mad. Praise the Lord. How old are you? It doesn't matter. You are headed to some dirt to become dust all over again. I better show you all this. Number one, dust is a symbol of mortality. Number two, dust as a symbol of, watch this, the insignificant becoming unstoppable. Ooh, oh my goodness. The third reason God used the dust is because of the inescapable nature of dust. But what do you mean? Dust everywhere. It's everywhere. There isn't anywhere where you don't have dust and dirt. You walk on it. It's everywhere. Number four, dust reminds us, oh, here's the word. Here's the word. Here it is. 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 This is why they could not replicate the third plague, because dust is associated with creation. Woo! Teach that book, boy. You see, in this plague, God creates. In the first plague, he didn't have to create water. It's already there. Didn't have to create frogs. Already there. But God says, in this one, watch this. I'm going to take the stuff that I made you from and judge you with. Ooh-wee! And number five, the finger of God. See, the magician said, this ain't nothing but the finger of God. Watch it. Not the hand of God, not the fist of God. He said, boss, he is, watch it. He touched the dust with his finger. And King Pharaoh, if he did all of that with his finger, you don't want to deal with his hand. You best be letting them people go. Okay, let me break it down for you. Number one, dust as a symbol of mortality. Dust is lifeless, it's powerless, it's insignificant. But in Exodus 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, when Aaron strikes the dust at God's command, it becomes gnats. This event shows that God can bring life and judgment from the ground itself, demonstrating his power over Egypt. I better give you some book here. In Genesis 2:7, God formed man from, see that you already know that. I heard you quote it. God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his life, into his nostrils, the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Watch this. In Genesis 3:19, after the fall, after Adam and Eve have sinned, God said to them, for dust you are, and dust you shall return. God will take them. God's finger will touch the dust, not the dirt. Okay, I've said that 3 or 4 times. I might better explain to you what I mean by that. You see, the dust of the particles, the fine particles from the dried up dirt. The dust of the particles, dried up dirt. And watch this. They're fine. They're fragile. They're imperceptible to the human eye. And watch this. They are easily Blown away. I try to tell folks across the country, stop taking yourself so seriously. Stop thinking that you're the greatest boxer in the whole world that has ever been. I love Muhammad Ali, and I know a whole lot of that was just stagecraft, but to some degree, he believed he was the best. All right? Sting like a butterfly, float like a bee. Uh, hey, I got you, bro. Incidentally, where is he now? Okay. See, you have to be careful how you set yourself up as the greatest of anything of all time. We got a president in the White House right now who has self-declared he's the greatest president in the history of the United States. He said a few weeks ago he had done more in 6 months than all of the presidents in history of the country had ever done in 6 months. No facts for that. So I mean, you can say what you want to say. I know you can say that you watch this, that once you get in the office, you're gonna stop the war between Russia and Afghanistan on day one. Hello. So well, he was just talking. I know it, and that's what I'm trying to say to you. Stop talking, because it's not true. You're not the greatest president. You haven't done in 6 months more than some other presidents have done. Now, if you've done a good job, the people will say that. You don't have to say it. Let somebody else praise you. Because you, and with dust. Not dirt, dust. Which says we are fragile, frail, mortal, and it ought to calls for humility, not arrogance, not pride. Now, I'm not just trying to jump on Mr. Trump. There are other presidents who have perhaps said similar things, and it's equally not true. Stop saying you're the best and you can do this and you can do what other president can do, because you haven't. And the record shows that. And I'm saying, and not just for presidents and not just for great boxers like Muhammad Ali. There ought to be a lesson in that for all of us. Now, I want you to watch this. You can't do anything with dust, but you can do something with dirt. Ooh. Dr. Big, what did you say? So you can't do anything with dust. What can you do with dust? You can do something with dirt. See, dirt has substance to it. Dirt has foundation to it. Dirt has growth potential to it. You can put a seed in dirt and it will produce, which means dirt has potential. You can't put nothing in dust because there's not enough of it to hold anything together. Oh, God he stirs his finger and he stirs the dust, not the dirt, the dust. Watch this. Lifeless, loose, connected particles. And God says, I'm going to take the dust from the dirt. And I'm going to show you something. Dust represents both the frailty of human life And watch this, and the inevitability of death. See, it represents two things. Number one, it represents frailty. Watch this. No value. There's some value in dirt. People buy dirt. Who buys dust? So watch this. No value. Lifeless, loose connected particles. And then he says, dust you ought, and dust you shall return. When my life is all over, and you take this body and you take it out to somebody's cemetery and you put it in the ground and you let it stay there long enough, in 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 5,000 years, guess what happens? It becomes dust all over again. By utilizing dust, God was reminding Egypt and us of human mortality and offering a gentle reminder that he will return us to the very matter from which we were formed. The plague forced Egypt to acknowledge that the God of Israel, our God, held the authority to grant life and carry out judgment, watch this, using the very ground beneath it. Number two, dust as a symbol of the insignificant becoming unstoppable. Dust is common, often ignored, and easily scattered by the breeze. See, if you're from the Southwest parts of these United States, if you're from the Midwest portion of these United States, if you live in the Middle East, you ain't seen no storm until you've seen a dust storm. It will hurt your vision. It causes accident. It stops traffic. It stops commerce. When all of this dust starts clouding the air. But God takes dust, turns it into gnats that swarmed over people and animals, demonstrating that he does not require powerful weapons to humble rulers. Ooh, Dr. He can use the tiniest, seemingly insignificant elements. God doesn't need PhDs to be leaders of his church. God has nothing against PhDs. God doesn't need scientists and astronauts and lawyers, and I highly respect all of that. But you don't have to be any of those to be used by God. God can use the smallest, the tiniest, the seemingly insignificant people and make them leaders in his church and effectively use them to the glory of God. Ooh, you're taking away. Boy, you're preaching up in here tonight. All right, here's the takeaway. God frequently employs the seemingly minor things to humble the arrogant. Come on now. You saw what that little virus did to our commerce and our economy and our lives just a few years ago with that coronavirus. You witnessed it. It collapsed economies. It shut down commerce. It shut down air traffic. God is saying, I don't need an atomic weapon. I have other things at my disposal when I want to bring down arrogant presidents, arrogant kings, arrogant dictators, and czars around the world. 1 Corinthians 1:26. For consider your calling, brothers. Not many of you were wise according to worldly standards. Not many were powerful. Not many were of noble birth. But God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God chose what is low and despised in the world, even things that are not, to bring to nothing things that are. His first point, so that no human might boast in the presence of God. Thirdly, I want you to see the inescapable nature of dust. Dust is common, often ignored, easily blown away. However, by transforming dust into gnats, God made the plague unavoidable. No part of Egypt remained safe. Why? Because dust is everywhere. Watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Watch the connection of dust to the creation of man. Humanity originated from dust. Yet now the same dust serves as an instrument of judgment. It is as though God declares, the very dust from which I fashioned mankind is now employed to afflict him. This serves as a powerful reminder that God holds ultimate authority over life and death, creation and judgment. And then number 5, the magicians acknowledge and confess that their God couldn't even duplicate, couldn't even imitate. We can't even fool you with our magic arts. Said this is the finger of God. Now I want you to watch this. So let me summarize this for you. The significance of God using the dust in the third plague is multi-layered. Number 1, it reminds us of human mortality. It reminds us we're dust. Number 2, it shows how God can use the smallest and most common things to humble the mighty. Number 3, it reflects his sovereignty over creation and judgment. The dust gave man life and also bring man's affliction at the finger of God. It was a call for Egypt and for us to recognize that life and power belong to God and to God alone. I want you to watch this, friend. And I'm rushing right through here so I can finish this tonight. Unlike the dramatic now of the frogs, this plague came through gnats, tiny, irritating creatures. Watch this. Ain't gonna kill you. Watch this. They're just gonna irritate you. They got a little sting to them, but they're more of a nuisance than anything else. If you come from the rural, if you grew up on a farm, how many times out in the pastures have you seen those gnats start flying around cows, around their heads, and they take their tails and just kind of trying to get rid of them? Now, here's this big old animal being irritated by tiny little gnats. And watch this. Have you ever run into a swarm of gnats? and then you open up your mouth, and all of a sudden you swallow them. And then you've inhaled them, and they get in your eyes, and they get in your hair, and they get on your skin, and they just take the heck out of you. That's what's happening in Egypt. Ain't nobody dying from this one. Now, you can die from drinking that bloody water out of the Nile. You ain't gonna die from this one. But you can't sleep at night. You can't work. Can't go to church. See, Egypt's power and Pharaoh's pride were humbled, not by something great, but by something small. The lesson we should learn is that God doesn't need big weapons to deal with arrogance. Even the smallest thing in his hand is mighty. Now, watch this. And I'm going to try to finish this tonight. We talked about why he used the dust. But why would he take the dust and turn them into flies and the gnats? Okay, watch this. Watch this. God could have, from the dust, he could have made elephants. They could at least get them out, trample them down. He could have made bears. That's an intimidating, powerful force. He could have made some more tigers and lions. But he said, no, I'm going to take dust and I'm going to make flies. Gnats represent irritation, humiliation. Gnats represent the power of the small. Gnats represent an inescapable plague. And watch this, and I will show you this. It was a blow against Egyptian religion. You know why? They had a god. They had a god called Geb, and they believed he controlled the ground and the earth. Oh, come on, let me show you some stuff here. Number one, gnats represent irritation and humiliation. Unlike the Nile turning to blood or frogs filling the land, gnats attack personally. They bite, they crawl, and they irritate constantly. And I want you to watch this. The Egyptians were a people who prided themselves on cleanliness. And this is why the priests would shave their heads and bodies in order to remain pure. But watch this. How could you when gnats all over you? This plague made them unclean, and it humiliated them. Here's the lesson. God has the ability to humble the proud by causing discomfort through seemingly minor and inevitable circumstances. And then there's the power of the small. Gnats, though minuscule and nearly unseen, brought great distress to Egypt. Despite Egypt's military power and wealth, Egypt was powerless against these tiny dust-born insects. Now watch this. You can't call your military to kill the gnats. I mean, no cannons, no swords, no bullets, no missiles, no bombs. You can't blow up all of the gnats because you can't blow up all of the dust. Watch it, not the dirt. We bombed Iran a month or so ago. We put a big old hole in the earth. That's dirt. You can't bomb dust. You can't shoot dust. You can't cut dust. So all of our weapons of warfare are ineffective against loosely tied particles called dust. What's the lesson? Divine power does not rely on grand weaponry. He can employ even the smallest creatures to humble the mighty. And then it's an inescapable plague. Watch this. You may evade frogs, steer clear of the Nile, but gnats are everywhere. You wouldn't be affected by the Nile if you didn't go down there. I mean, frogs were everywhere. There was space. But gnats are airborne. They're everywhere. There's no place to run. There's no place to hide. Can you imagine trying to sleep? And gnats crawling around your head all night long. The dust transformed into gnats signified no place is off limits and no place was exempt. God's power is inescapable. No individual can protect themselves against his influence. And then watch this. It was a blow against Egyptian religion. Ooh, oh my goodness. I hate to rush through this one. But the Egyptians worshiped Geb as the stable, fertile earth. By turning dust into swarm of gnats, God showed that Geb could not control or protect his own realm in which they believed he had power and control of. They believed that he embodied the dust, the soil, and the fertility of the land. The Egyptian crops, vegetation, and stability of the earth, they believed was under his control. Geb was symbolized as the one who controlled the ground beneath their feet. Yet, he could not prevent the very dust he was supposed to rule from becoming a plague. People still put their trust in earthly foundations, money, career, health, land, as if they are permanent. But none of these things can stand when God moves. The very dust of Geb's domain turned into a source of torment. The smallest, most overlooked element of creation was used by God to produce an unstoppable nuisance. The plague struck at Egypt's source of fertility and security. It declared that life and death, prosperity and plague are not controlled by false gods, but by the Lord God of Israel. Even the dust beneath their feet, tied to Geb's identity, belonged to Jehovah. This plague exposed the impotence of Egyptian religion and revealed that even the smallest particles of creation are under God's control. So, my friends, when the dust starts moving, it moves because of the finger of God. Let me give you the lesson for the day, and I bid you good night. Number one, God controls the dust, overseeing both the mighty and the humble. Lesson number two, our foundations matter. what we stand on will either uphold us or betray us. Oh, I need an hour. I need an hour right there. Because there too many people are standing on the wrong foundations. But what we stand on will either uphold us or it'll betray us when we really need it. Number 3, Egypt looked to Geb, the god of the dust, but the dust answers only to God. Let me say that again. Egypt looked to Geb, the god of the dust, but the dust only answers to God. Ooh, Brother B. They look to Geb, the god of the dust, but dust only answers to God. And 4, God employs the small to bring down the powerful. Never underestimate modest beginnings or minor challenges, as they can showcase God's majesty. 5 and final. God has the ability to humble the proud by causing discomfort through seemingly minor and inevitable circumstances. Watch this. When the dust starts moving, will you recognize the finger of God? Or will you bow in surrender? Or will you harden your heart like Pharaoh? One day, God will remove you and I as dust. Bow before you burn. Surrender before time proves to be too late. Now may the Lord of the harvest bless you. And may he bless you real good.